I think it's just an interesting commentary on how fans and the press and how we as a culture and a soap community, see actors and actresses, and their contract disputes. I thought it was really interesting that when Melody Thomas Scott was going through something similar and when Jess Walton was going through something similar, most of the response you saw from media and from fans was, suck it up and take a pay cut. It wasn't this whole, Y&R can't go on without them, so give them whatever they want response. But then when Eric Braeden comes up with the same drama, everyone's saying, oh my gosh, the show can't survive without him, give him whatever he wants. And I'm like, why can't women on daytime have that kind of resounding response?
Well, for the record, I said the same thing about Melody Thomas Scott, but for Jess Walton, I said Brenda Dixon forever.
I said the same thing last week, but in opposite. I felt a lot more sympathetic to Melody Thomas Scott and Kim Zimmer when she was in a certain situation, a similar situation. Robin Strasser when she was in a similar situation. I'm more like, I don't think these shows can function without these women. I was kind of opposite with Eric Braeden. I don't have a lot of sympathy. I did not have a lot of sympathy, and wasn't really that upset about him leaving the show. Sorry to say, but I do want to say this since the last week, since we talked about this. I feel like because of all these exclusive interviews he's been doing, I have a lot more understanding and a lot more respect for where he's coming from. And as someone who recently left a job under vaguely similar circumstances, I kind of feel like, it's like we all have a right, no matter what our jobs are, to be treated with a certain level of respect.
Absolutely.
And if you don't think you're getting it, then we all have a right to walk.
Absolutely.
So see you later.
Bye.
No, it's hard because, a lot of people in the country right now are being treated a lot worse than Eric Braeden was, a lot worse than I was, and they can't walk. And I feel really, sympathetic for that. On the other hand, why would he? I mean, the guy's 69 years old. Why would he put up with bullshit, with bad vibes? Am I allowed to curse on this show?
I don't know. I guess
probably not.
Probably not.
Why would he put up with negative energy?
Yeah, but I think it's as I said, it's an interesting question that whenever contract talks come up, whenever this kind of stuff happens, there's a lot of it's just interesting to see people's response and how they and how they and who they'll say needs to just negotiate and do whatever and come back to the show, and who they'll say needs to be paid whatever.
It is interesting, and I think in the press does seem more sympathetic to men than women in this case. I'm not sure why.
At least in the online community, I think all of these stories have been much more compelling to fans than the actual storylines on the show.
Well, that's the truth.
So it would be nice if the shows were so compelling that this was just like a side thing. Like we hardly noticed it, but this is much more compelling than anything we're seeing. So.
I mean, it's like I think we all agree that the best thing about All My Children this past year was the off-screen drama and guessing who was going to go to LA and who wasn't. I mean, that was really compelling.
And who was
drama.
doing Shakespeare and who was performing not Shakespeare. Okay, so.
But speaking of Eric Braeden, so I did, I thought the man can be a little bit big for his bridges or his mustache or whatever. And I challenged Roger because I was like, I don't really think people recognize Eric Braeden outside of the soap community. So I challenged Roger to a bet in Times Square to see if more people would recognize Eric Braeden or Geraldo Rivera. So we went to Times Square to find out. Check this out. Well, Roger, I'm feeling really troubled by this whole Eric Braeden situation. I mean, I understand what you're saying about him being a financial commodity and being worth all that money, but I tell you, I don't think he's really that recognizable.
You gotta be kidding me. Eric Braeden is a star well beyond soap operas. He was in Planet of the Apes, for goodness sakes. I bet you anybody here in Times Square would know who Eric Braeden is.
Look, the guy's even done an episode of Wonder Woman. He has my respect. All I'm saying is, I think outside the soap community, even Geraldo Rivera is more recognizable than Eric Braeden.
Geraldo Rivera hasn't done anything in 20 years. Give me a break.
Well, I'd say let's put that to the test. We're here in Times Square, and I want to find out, would people recognize Geraldo Rivera or Eric Braeden?
Would you like to make a little wager about that?
Yeah, I'll wager you.
Let's see.
Let's find out. We've got this mustache and this mustache. Which will people know better? So do you recognize either one or both of these gentlemen?
I recognize Geraldo Rivera, and I know this man's face from the soap operas when I was younger.
What is his name?
I don't know if it's Damien. He's
He played
He's
in
been
stories.
around a long time.
He played in stories.
He played in the stories, right?
Yes.
Do you remember his character's
It's
name?
a very He's his name is Karl. No. Oh my God, what's his name? This is so nerve-wracking.
Do any of you recognize one or both of these men?
I recognize one of them. This
Which
is
one?
Geraldo Rivera.
You recognize Geraldo Rivera? Okay, what about the other guy? The other mustache? Do you recognize the other man?
He's from a soap, but I don't know which one.
No idea.
No idea?
It might be General Hospital.
Of these two men, do you recognize one or either one of them?
One,
Which one?
Victor Newman.
You recognize Victor Newman?
Yes. Otherwise, the Black Knight.
Do you watch him on The Young and the Restless?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, how about you?
No, not really. But I know him just by looking at the show. I don't really pay attention to The Young and the Reckless, but I know it's
Okay.
Victor.
Now, does this guy, in any way, do you recognize this guy at all?
No.
No, huh?
This is
Well, you do recognize Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah,
Yes.
of
News
course.
reporter.
Yeah.
The other guy, the other mustache here. Do you? But you know he's from the.
he played in Days of Our Lives. Right? Isn't that right? Days of Our Lives, right?
Give us
Both of them.
You recognize both of them. Who are they?
That's Geraldo. And I don't know his real name, but he plays Victor on The Young and the Restless.
Wonderful. You recognize both of them.
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize either one or both or neither of these men?
No.
No. All right, Sal. So I'm asking people today if they recognize one or either one of these gentlemen or neither one.
Geraldo?
You're right, Geraldo. And who's the other guy?
Geraldo?
You think they're both Geraldo?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So who do you recognize here? You recognize him?
Yes.
Who is this?
Rivera.
Rivera. Very good. Who is this?
I don't know.
You don't know who this is.
I recognize Geraldo Rivera.
You recognize Geraldo Rivera. What
Yes.
about the other guy?
Not really.
Doesn't ring a bell, huh? How about for you? Ever seen him? No. Okay. Well, one of this guy. This is definitely Geraldo Rivera. But do you recognize this guy as somebody else?
Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds. Not quite. You see, his name is Eric Braeden, and he's on Young and the Restless.
Exactly. I knew it. I knew it. I recognized his face from somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Stop it. You guys, that clip was awesome. I loved it. I loved watching you guys, especially singing the hand and being all cozy. It was kind of adorable.
That was really fun. We're all going to try to fit into the hand next week, right?
Absolutely, Mala.
Woohoo, I can't wait.
So we got a lot of diverse answers, as you can see.
Yes, true, Roger. And if I'm not mistaken, I won the bet. Not many people. Well, let me say it first. I think I won the bet, but a lot of people did. A lot more people than I thought would recognize Eric Braeden. And even if they didn't exactly recognize the face, they did recognize that he's an important part of the soap community. So I wish him the best. I wish him peace. I hope he finds peace back on our screens at YNR sooner than later. But
I'm not so sure you won. But anyway, let's move on to our interview with Karla Mosley and Lawrence St. Victor. They started as Remy and Christine on Guiding Light, and I really love their chemistry.
And they're taking that chemistry now, and they're starting a new web episode of series called Wed-locked. And again, this is really, really exciting because we're seeing more and more a lot of these very talented individuals in front of the screen and behind the screen on soaps taking their talents to the internet and the web to tell new stories that we haven't seen before. So here's a sample of that interview.
Well, Wed-locked, actually, the idea came from my mother. She said, my mother has a million ideas, and she said, you and Lawrence should do a spin-off. You guys need to keep working together. And I said to Lawrence, oh yeah, my mom was saying we should do something together. And he's like,
Ding, ding.
that's a great idea. Hello. Why didn't you tell me this 5 months sooner? And so we started kind of brainstorming about what stories we'd like to tell and what's missing, we think, in television today, and what our strengths are, and we came up with Wed-locked.
Yep.
What is missing in television today?
I feel like television today, everything's about, this is probably going to sound dramatic, but almost the deconstruction of the marriage and family. Everything's about, these teens getting in trouble and divorce and people who are single that can't find love. And I'm like, where is that place where you see two married people trying to work it out? Where is that place where a family is going to stay grounded and rooted no matter what? Where are our Cosby shows today?